Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you for joining a life group and taking time to go deeper in your prayer life as we talk through 6 different dangerous prayers over the next 6 weeks. Now, I'm just going to give a little bit of an overview, teach a little bit, and then ask a question. And throughout the video, you're going to pause the video and you are going to discuss different portions of what we're talking about. We'll do about 3 different sections. So this week, to get us started with dangerous prayers, we are looking at the dangerous prayer that King David gave in Psalm 139. He says this, I'm going to read it. It says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life." Now, David is a king of a powerful nation, one of the most powerful nations in the world at this time, and he answers to no one. He is the man of this time, and he very easily could be arrogant and hard-hearted because of his position of power, but instead he prays this humble, dangerous prayer. He prays, "Search me, God, search me." And on the surface, this prayer might not seem very dangerous. It maybe even seems a little bit silly because God is God, right? Doesn't he already know everything about me, everything that's going on inside of me? Why would he have to search me? And I'm me. How do I not know everything that's going on inside of me, right? We think we may know ourselves completely, but we all have blind spots. We all have blind spots. And God does know everything about us, and that's why we need to pray this prayer. Why wouldn't we ask the one who created us, the one who knows everything about us, to search us? Many times we pray for things for ourselves or the ones we love, but what if instead of asking God to do something for you, what if you ask for God to reveal something in you? That's what this prayer is all about, but that sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? In a moment, I'm going to have you pause the video and we're going to talk about why you think it's scary to ask God to search you. For me, it seems like such a slow process. Like, God search me, and then I have to wait, and then I have to listen, and letting him search me and listening for all this, it takes a long time. And I feel like I don't have time for that. I like to just get things done. Why can't he do his job of searching me on his own time and then tell me, maybe just shoot me a quick text message that doesn't interrupt my day, right? So what are some things that hold people back from praying this prayer, "Search me, God"? Talk about that in your small group. Now, for the next part of our discussion, we're going to look at 2 different things that God points out in us. Many times, when we pray this prayer, the things that God points us fall under 2 categories. And King David prays these things. He first prays, "Know my anxious thoughts." And then he prays, "Point out anything in me that offends you." So the first thing is this. David brings up our anxious thoughts. He talks about our fears, basically, is what David is talking about. Like, what am I afraid of, God? And the question is, what makes you anxious? What are you anxious or afraid of? And I'm not talking about normal things like phobias, like snakes or heights or spiders or anything like that. No. But what are the things that keep you up at night, that just jump into your head and just rack your brain, the things that you truly worry about? Things like, I'm never going to get married, or I'm going to be stuck in a bad marriage, or what other people think if they find out the secret that you have. Like, those are the fears that I'm talking about, those deep-rooted fears. And the reason we need God to search us in the area of our fears is because usually the things that we fear the most are the things that we have the least faith in God for. These are the areas of our life that we don't trust God in. And if you trusted God with them, you wouldn't be so anxious about it, right? Well, that's the first thing. The second thing David brings up is this idea that anything that offends you, God, also known as sin. And this is tricky because we are really good at rationalizing things or explaining things away, right? But ask yourself, what do you get defensive about? When someone brings something up about you or what you believe, what do you kind of explain away? Or you say, that's not a problem. I'm doing this because, or no, there's nothing wrong with that. For me, I tend to fear that I might be missing what God has for me. Does he want me to be more outspoken about certain things? Should I be living somewhere where I can tell more people who have never heard about Jesus? Should I be, almost like a missionary? And that's my fear, is missing God. The thing I get defensive about is definitely my impatience. Whether I'm driving or dealing with my kids. Okay, well, enough about me. Let's talk about you for a second, right? The question is what is your biggest fear in life, and what do you get most defensive about? Talk about that in your groups right now. All right, the third thing that we're going to discuss as a group has to do with David's last part of his prayer. David prays, lead me along the path of everlasting life. Once you pray, search me, the only practical way to answer that is lead me. Like, search me and then lead me. Meaning this, after you let God search you and search your heart, he's going to point out fears. He's going to point out sins. We need him to lead us to overcome those things, right? Imagine this. Imagine if God said, Corey, I see your fear of missing my will, and I know your impatience, that sin that you have with your impatience. And then I was like, oh, thanks for the heads up, God, appreciate it, but I don't do anything about it. That would be ridiculous. That would be silly, right? And in fact, it would be disobedient. So, what are the next steps? I know the steps I have to take to move toward God in these areas. I need to pray more so I can hear his voice more, so I don't have to be afraid of missing his will, so that I know that I'm in that will. And I know that I need to ask God to give me supernatural patience, because I don't have what it takes to be patient on my own. I need him to change me and ask him to send me things that are going to test me. And then when that happens, I need to be obedient and be able to follow him and pray in those situations. Okay, God, this is hard, but please help me be patient. What does it look like for you to start moving toward God in the areas that he points out? What are some specific things? Talk about those things in your discussion right now. Now, to finish up, I want to just share with you one thing that I've learned. One thing that I've learned is this about myself. I have blind spots. I know that there are areas in my life that I'm not lining up with God, but I just don't know what those areas are all the time. Otherwise, they wouldn't be blind spots, right? So here's my challenge for you this week. We all have blind spots. What I want you to do is I want you to pray, search me. Pray that dangerous prayer each and every day this week. Do it. Don't forget to do it. Really do it. Every single day, pray. Search me. Don't chicken out. I know this is scary, but pray and ask God to search your heart. And then make sure when you take time to pray, also take at least 5 minutes to just sit and listen, so that he has an opportunity to actually share with you what he has found in you or what he has searched out in you. I know this is a dangerous prayer, and it's kind of scary. It definitely is a smack in the face when you start hearing things that you're not so good at. But it is amazing it has the power to generate some pretty amazing results if we just pray this prayer and then move in that direction. So get ready. Now, before you leave, make sure that you take some time to pray together in your group, because this is a group about dangerous prayers, right? It's about prayer. So make sure you take time to pray together, and I will see you next week.